everybody. It's your girl, Ariel Rose.
And I'm Khadijah J.
And welcome to Grind and Glow. All right, Glow Getters, welcome to Today or Not Today. We have two guests with us today that will allow them to introduce themselves.
My name is Weems.
My name is Vontrell.
All right, so we have them on the show today because we wanted them to represent the male population, basically. We didn't want to give y'all a show about dating just from a female point of view. Although some guys might benefit from that.
They might.
But yeah, we didn't want it to be one-sided. So not only do we have your male and female point of view, but we also have your outlook from a male that's single and a female that's in a relationship and a male that's single and a male that's in a relationship. So you'll definitely get, I think, a well-rounded
I think so.
opinion of
it
things
should be
today.
very interesting.
Yeah. So one of the first things we have to differentiate when talking about dating is there a difference between talking, dating, and actually in a relationship? And are there like sub-levels within each category? Personally, I think all three of them are separate.
They definitely are separate.
I think
I don't
they're
care what no one says. They're separate. They're separate.
But I think there might be like subdivisions within them. But what's y'all's take on it?
So to me, talking to me is you're getting to know each other with the intention of moving forward. I think that's what talking is. You're trying to figure out if y'all have the same goals. More so, are y'all attracted to each other outside of just the physical? And do y'all have things in common? Dating, I feel like it's a level up. So when you start dating, you start going out more. You're still learning about the person, I think more on an intimate level, but you're learning like what they like as far as, do they like to paint? So you may go to a painted twist, or do they like bowling? So you're learning them on a different level. And what's the next one?
In a relationship.
That's the final step. I think that's kind of self-explanatory.
Okay.
Relationship.
My perspective is, talking. Basically talking is just like you getting to know each other. Like my boy right here said, you know what I'm saying? We just talking. It's really kind of self-explanatory. You just trying to learn each other. Taking it to dating, it's different levels of dating. You know, if you're dating with the purpose of just, oh, I'm bored, I have nothing to do type dating, you know, you got the one where you're actually courting. So I go to the sub level from dating to courting. So that's when you're basically dating with the purpose. That's what we call courting. So you're doing I guess you want to say, to secure the female that you want. And then relationship is kind of self-explanatory. It takes two people, not just one. You're both into each other, and it's just y'all two at that point.
Sis, how you feel on this?
I think courting is cute. I don't feel
very
like
cute.
we hear courting in today's
We don't.
division of things
Chivalry's
often.
definitely not dead. It's
No,
not.
I won't say chivalry is dead at all. But like when I think of courting, like I was watching like an Amish show on Netflix, and that's what you have to like ask the dad to court
Right.
the daughter. Like that's something official, like an actual
Gotcha.
step in their like sequence of relationships. So that's interesting.
Could you imagine if the world was like that today?
I don't know. There maybe be less divorce. I mean, when you think about it, like relationships back in the day that are really traditional, how often was divorce then?
That is true.
Like,
I mean,
now
stuff
divorce is
may
like
have
one in every
happened,
three.
but they didn't just get divorced.
Right,
Like,
right.
They just was like, fuck it, we stay together.
Right, exactly. So it's interesting that was brought up. So do y'all have an issue with if you're dating someone? Let's say y'all are talking, y'all met somewhere, y'all are out of town or something. Would you keep dating them if there was like a significant space difference, like y'all would be long distance?
It's funny you ask that because majority of my relationships have been long distance.
Okay.
So, as of now, I prefer not to. But, yeah, it seems like I like people that live just far away. It's difficult because when you want to be there, and especially for the female, but it's difficult because when the female wants their man, they want him there. Like, they don't want to wait 2 hours for them to get on the plane. And just the scheduling, especially when you're young, it's hard because you're trying to go to school, you're trying to work on yourself, you're trying to get your career going. It's very difficult. So, I mean, it's difficult, but it can be done if y'all really want to make it work.
I can agree with that much.
Yeah, definitely. Because, I mean, distance is nothing. If you really feel like you want to be with that person, I mean, you're going to do what you need to do to be with that person, because no one likes time wasted. So you're not going to just put in energy and time knowing that this isn't going to be something that has longevity, and it's not something that you can commit yourself to, because that is a big commitment. Like, you have to focus on, like, okay, I have to make time for this person. I have to be able to see this person. Like, I have to make time out of my busy schedule for this person still, regardless of the distance. So
I think that it's definitely possible to have successful long distance relationships as long as the right communication is there. Absolutely. I think that's the biggest thing in long distance relationships, is because you have to make up for it by talking. Like, you have to constantly basically be in contact just to kind of meet that intimacy that you would have if you were in person with someone every day. There is a difference for sure, but I don't think it's just like, oh, we're not 20 minutes away from each other, this won't work.
I can't just get in the car and be like, hey, I'm here at the door. Like, no, if I call, you want that person to answer the phone, because you can't see that person all the time.
I also think the good thing about it too is there's not like more so the physical. Like, it's not about sex. It's not about like, this person looks good, I see him every day. Like, you have to get to know that person.
That's true.
You have to like really see if y'all conversation is well, like what y'all really like, because all y'all have is just y'all talking, and trust too. Like, you gotta really bank on trust.
Yeah, that's a big thing. And I feel like with the distance too, it allows you to actually miss the person. It's like, if you're always up under someone, you can get really like tired and agitated quick, because you see them all the time. So it's like, you're not giving me time to miss you. So when you have that distance, you have no choice but to miss that person.
True. I kind of want to piggyback off of that, because the trust, that plays a strong factor. Because I used to be like totally against long distance, whether it's 45 minutes, 2 hours, 6 hours. I wasn't fucking with it, but you know, it just all depends, I guess, on your mindset, and then, like you said, communication and the trust between you can trust each other. That's really what it finally goes down to, is the trust and communication portion of it. Because sometimes you just got to figure out, like, you can't see that person when you want to see them. You can't see them every day, or sometimes once a week, twice a month. It just all depends. It just works out what you're doing and what you got going on.
So when y'all start looking for someone, y'all might necessarily be looking for them, but what would you say are like the top 3 things, the first 3 things you look for, like, in a person?
Man, top 3 things. I have to know that they're intelligent. The dumminess, the unintelligent, the stupidity, the ignorance, I can't deal with. Like, that's really a deal breaker for me. It's hard, man. The top 3 is hard. I can just keep going. Like, I can go, but intelligence, loyalty, and I have to know that you have like a big heart, like that loving. Because I feel like a lot of things fall under that umbrella of love.
Okay.
So I would say intelligence, love, and loyalty for sure.
So when y'all say top 3 qualities, like, what do you mean? Like, because you got some of those qualities, I feel like you can't determine until you like establish a form of communication with one another. But like, we're just going off basically, let me decide if I want to pursue that individual, or either at least engage in contact with that person. I go off for one, we all go off of looks, or something that just basically something that catches your eye. For me, it has to be like smile and eye contact. So if you can make eye contact, and then if you have a nice smile, that's what gets me first. The third one is just kind of like the way you carry yourself. To me, it's like kind of like your personality, your vibe.
I want you to answer too.
I mean, I definitely can see what the looks thing, because, I mean, looks aren't everything, but at the same time, if this is someone that you know you may want to pursue something with for the long run, you have to be okay with, am I attracted to this person? Because if you're not attracted to them and you're solely just going off personality, that can play a hindrance in it as well, because you may be attracted to their personality, but I mean, we're all human. You're out in public and you see someone that may be more attractive than this person, your natural reaction, you're going to go towards that person.
There's always going to be someone more attractive than
and there
is.
Literally,
there's always going to be somebody.
There is.
So I don't, so
but you have to at least have an attraction to the person that you're talking to, because if you don't even have just any type of attraction to them, like,
but this is where I want to go with this, because I asked this on purpose, because I wanted to see what people's number one would be, if it was going to be a physical attribute or a like emotional kind of characteristic. And so the first thing I always say is someone that's funny, because if we're not laughing all the time, like we cannot be together.
We
because
can't.
I'm a goofball
And I'm so we ain't
it's
doing
funny.
nothing.
So it kind of does make it like half and half. It's one guy and one female that said a physical attribute first, and then one guy and one female that said something else first. And I just think that's really funny, because you see people all the time, like couples where it's someone that isn't all that appealing,
Right, and you see the two, and you like, how
it's
did they
someone
match
that's
up?
bad, like bad, fine,
how did
with a
y'all
capital
match up?
F.
How did you get her?
Right, like
Be
how
like,
did he
what
get
am I
her?
doing
What am
wrong?
I doing wrong? Right. So that's why I'm like,
Help me.
I
Secure
have
the
this,
bag like that.
like I have this thought process that I don't know about men, and y'all can speak on this if you want, but I have this idea in my mind that women have the ability to love anybody.
Oh.
I don't feel as though
I feel
guys
like
can
that's-
love anybody, because I feel as though y'all care about looks more than women care about looks. But I have this idea that women can grow to love any man.
Oh yeah.
Like genuinely.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of where you see these couples sometimes, because they've grown to love something else about them, not necessarily just their outward appearance.
Right.
That's a
But-
good one. That's a good one. I think men are more physical than women. I think y'all just love, like y'all can find other things to love about a man, right? For us, it's like we kind of find what we don't like.
Interesting.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's mainly what it is. But we, I think, are a lot more physical than women are, for sure.
I gotta totally agree. We're a little more physical, you know. It just sometimes it's just certain things that pop and some things that don't.
And I think the idea of dating too, like just the history of what, because with us men, we were taught to look for the fat ass and the big titties.
Yes.
Okay.
It's true, we were taught to look for those things, and it's been going on so long that it becomes a habit. And like you say, that's kind of why that y'all can, like, what would you say? That y'all can.
I think we're able to find other things to love outside of
Right.
your physical attributes.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's actually not a great thing, because I mean, that gets old. Like, titties gonna start hanging.
It do.
Your ass gonna deflate.
You're a little soggy back there.
Right. And it's other things that we need to learn to love about women, like y'all love about us. So I think that's a lot of things. That's a lot that we need to work on as far as that's concerned.
I feel like it all started young age. Everything seems like it's so sexualized.
Yeah.
So we just get stuck in that mindset, and then like when you're younger, if you don't have the right type of guidance, that's like what you always tend to go to first. Like, damn, so all they do got a fat ass, or like, bro, you see that, like, in this who around you just egg you on for the same.
Exactly. It's
that
the
stuff.
ego of a man.
Yeah, that pride, you just gotta have it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we gotta stop that, because that's why shit start falling apart when you get older, because you realize, like, all right, she got a fat ass, but
That ass ain't
kinda
gonna last
stupid.
forever. Yeah.
Or she's not what I want for her to raise our kids. Like, it's so much more to that than just the physical. So
I definitely can agree with that, because I feel like too with women, it's kind of like more. I mean, yeah, we look at looks, but at the same time, it's more of, like y'all said, emotional, and it's like that security. Like, okay, not saying like what can he provide for me, but at the same time, male and female, we know like, okay, guys are supposed to provide, protect. So it's like, can I find security in this person, regardless if they may be the most attractive? Am I going to be secure? And that's not just like, okay, are we going to be good in our relationship? Can I know that this person, if I need them, they can be there? If something goes wrong, they're going to be there. If I may need them to help me provide, can they do that for me without me having to worry and go somewhere else? So that is a big thing too. So it's like, if you don't have that security connection with a guy, it's kind of like, okay, what are we doing? Like, what can you do for me? What can I do with you?
Yeah, I think it's funny that you bring up ego, because what's what I say? Like, guys' egos are really.
Oh yeah,
really,
you
like,
gotta stroke it.
You
gotta stroke it.
You gotta stroke.
You gotta stroke
the
it.
guy's ego. Like
'Cause y'all
sometimes you
getting it
really
quick.
do have to care to your man's ego.
Yeah.
Like that's real. So like, it's not just. That plays a factor. So it's interesting that you mentioned ego.
Like, if y'all don't mind, I'd like to ask y'all a question. So, like, loyalty or love, which one has more value?
We have a whole episode coming up on this, so I guess we can spin it.
Right.
This topic is based off of 21 Savage, which it's ironic that he's so in the media right now.
Right.
Ball Without You, he goes into discussion on this topic in the song. So if you haven't heard the song, he should pay me because there's a plug for it. But when I was initially asked this question, what did I say? Well, you said the difference between love and loyalty.
Or which one would you prefer more, I think.
Yeah, which one you prefer more?
So I said loyalty only goes but so far.
Right.
And love, I forgot what I said about love, but like, because that's when you see things in like kind of battered relationships. Like, you don't want to be the ride or die while you're being treated like nothing, while you're being beat down, whatever. I feel like that's when that has to do with love too. You have to realize one day that you deserve better, what you're worthy of, and that just because someone has maybe done something for you, that doesn't mean you have to stick around. That doesn't mean you necessarily owe them your life or whatever that matter might be. Right. I think that loyalty, when done correctly, is very powerful and can sometimes be more powerful than love itself. So I guess that's my answer on it.
Yeah, because I mean, with that too, it's kind of like you can be loyal to someone but not love them at all. So that's the big thing. Like, you can go. I don't know if
you can be loyal to someone and not love them.
I mean, it's kind of a hard one because I mean, you could have that person's back. You know, you would go to bat for them or anything, and they know they can count on you. But it's like at the end of the day, with that love part, it's like you're just not that person for them. Like, you can be loyal to them, they can be loyal to you, but y'all just aren't meant to be together. And so there's not that love that's there. But y'all will always have each other's back. And it's like, it can kind of be one of those situations. Okay. So not saying that like love doesn't exist like that, but y'all aren't just meant to be together like y'all tried. That love connection's not there, but y'all have a different kind of connection.
That's fair.
Shoot, can we piggyback on that?
Sure, it's your question. Why not?
I just feel like, so love and loyalty, you know what I mean? So love is like, you can love anything. You can like, I can say I love this cereal right here. And I mean, I'm gonna be loyal to this one cereal. You know what I mean? Loyalty is something that you don't give out loyalty to everybody. Only select few get that loyalty. So that's why sometimes I feel like it kind of go hand in hand, because sometimes loyalty is a part. I feel like they're kind of a part of each other in a way, but like if somebody really loyal, you know what I mean, and it's like the person, your significant other, you're with, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm loyal to this. And this loyalty goes longer than love, because you have to always divide your love up. But then with the person you're most loyal to, that's the loyalty is gonna always have hold just a little bit of love. I might love you or love him, you know what I mean, but I'm more loyal to you. So when it comes between you and him, I have to choose sides. So that's when it comes like choosing differences and what goes to what, you know what I mean.
That perspective, I get it. Like, I understand the perspective, and it has a point. But I'm taking love because love just, to me, love goes further. Like, you got self-love, right? You got to love yourself before anything. I just feel like when you like, and this is the thing too with people, they have the idea of love, what they think love is, or what love should be, or what love is taught in their household, and that's not fair. Real love. When you really love somebody, you're going to be loyal. Although I understand that perspective, and it does make sense, I just feel like when you truly love somebody, when it's real love, you're going to be loyal to that person. Yeah, you got to make decisions, but it's like, I love my family, I'm loyal to them, ride or die. Like, I love my friends, I'm loyal to them, ride or die. So that's just where I'm at with it.
Okay. So that was a little heavy, you know. We got a little serious, so we're going to change it a little bit. So when would you say, like, when would be the perfect time to introduce that significant other to your parents? Like, how much do your parents have involvement in your relationship and who you're dating?
So is it like before y'all get serious, or is it after y'all get serious that you would introduce that person to your family, to your parents in particular?
Right.
Well, I don't, because my siblings, I care about my siblings' opinion too. Mm-hmm. But we'll start off with parents.
Right.
Everybody can't meet mama.
Okay.
Everybody can't meet mama. Because, yeah, you gotta know, like, when you meet my mom, you're special. Like, you gotta understand that. If everybody meet mama, everybody gonna feel special. And I met his mama, nah, you ain't me. You might have, just met her on accident, but like when I introduce you to family, like that means something. So I would say like when it gets serious, or when when it gets real serious, or I feel like a strong connection, or I'm on the verge of loving that person, I can introduce them to the family. And as far as their opinion, it's time. My mom may like some girls. She didn't pull me to the side and say I don't like her ass. Like, she didn't say it, but at the end of the day, it was my decision, and even if she didn't like him, my mama always was respectful. She never disrespected the woman, and I had to learn. Like, she was trying to tell me this and that, but I had to learn through experience. That's why this person wasn't for me. So at the end of the day, it's your decision. You gotta do what's best for you, because she may not understand, but they also play a big part in it because they have your best interests.
For me, it's a little different. You know, my mom, she be in the streets, you know, so my mom know a lot of people. So it's just like, it's kind of like she didn't already know who it. Like, if I'm bringing somebody, she might already didn't see him, or it just depends on how I introduce. Like, you might meet my mom just randomly if we cool, you know what I mean? But like, it's whether I introduce it like, oh, this is my lady type thing. If this is my lady, then it's something a little different, you know. Moms, their opinion, it kind of, just let me do what I want in a way. I just got more free realm. They might say they might not like this or might not like that, but they just always had it to the opening where I can just, it's my decision. Like, I gotta live, not learn by the code or whatever it is. Like, my grandma the same way. Like, it's different. Like, if I'm really messing with you heavy, you end up meeting like my pops, even though he ain't like around like that, but it's just me and him still cool. So, and if I bring you around my pops, you can hang out and drink with my pops and stuff. It's just a little different, you know what I mean? But going to my mom's house is something serious, like, cause she don't stay here. So my grandma's house here, anybody go to my grandma's house almost, you know what I mean? But you going to my mama's house out in the country somewhere, then it's a little different.
I mean, I can kind of agree on that, because it ain't too many people I let either of my parents meet. Like, nah, we can't even do this. I could be on FaceTime with someone. They be like, what you doing? I'm like, with my mama. Tell her I say, hey, no.
You know,
like,
I gotta be quick to be like,
right, like, my mama don't know
mama,
you.
I said, hey,
right, she don't even like
you.
Like,
she don't even like you. That's real.
She don't even know you. So that one is kind of big though, because like even my parents, like, we've had that conversation too, because they feel like they're to a point where they don't even want to meet someone unless I'm serious with that person.
Serious.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So we actually have like that same thing. So if I'm talking to someone, it's a lot of people they don't meet. Like, they know I may be hanging out with that person, but they don't meet them because they don't want to even meet them unless I'm serious with them. So we kind of have that mutual, you know, going on. If for you to meet them, that says a lot. Like, it says a lot, because, you know, parents, especially with women, parents are always concerned with who you're dating, but at the same time, they want you to make that right decision. So if you feel like that's not right, because like he said, you don't want to just bring any and everybody home. Like, they always feel like they got a chance. Like, no, you want a 30-day free trial. Like, what you mean? You might not make it past that 30 days and get that subscription. So you gotta pipe it down, slow down real quick.
Only a 30-day.
30-day, girl.
69.
You got a short leash.
Yeah.
Right. That's hilarious. I don't know. Like, my dad doesn't really say too much. If he says something, he says it to my mom, and my mom passes it back to me. So, typically, we don't know how our dad feels. But I feel like another thing is we've always known what and who we can bring home and who we can't.
Absolutely.
That's like a whole nother thing. And like in high school when I dated, like, the guy had to come to the door.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he had to, you know, introduce himself to my parents or whatever. And I didn't really date too much in high school. But that's like, so they always knew who my parents were. Which, I mean, in high school, you're dating people that are in the same school as you. You've done the same sports with them since like 5th grade. Like, they really know who your parents are at that point. It's just that now you're having to go through, you know, kind of this facade of, you know, your first date and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like I don't feel like I've dated that much. So I feel like every guy I've seriously been with, I guess, you know, yeah, they always meet my parents. But
I mean, I guess it's kind of another side to that too, because it's like, even if you may be ready for that person to meet your family, like, is that person ready to meet your family? Because you got to be considerate of that too as well. Because there's people I've talked to before too, and they may have felt some type of way because they had like all the tattoos, all that good stuff, but they feel some type of way. They're like, oh, your dad or parents aren't gonna like me. I got all these tattoos and all this stuff. But I'm like, you don't even know my parents to judge them if they're gonna like you or not.
That's
so
valid.
You actually have to be willing to meet them, because they're not going to judge you just for that. I mean, for one, I have tattoos. As long as I'm happy, my parents aren't going to judge you. They may tell me, like you said, their opinion of that person, but they're just not gonna be like, oh, you can't mess with him, he you know, because I mean, I'm not the perfect child either, so
That's true. Nah, it's just been engraved in me from a young age, like what I can bring home, and I kind of abide by it. So I mean, I don't know. But that goes for like my sister. Like, she's married now. Her husband. I was the first person out of the family he met. He didn't meet my parents first, like, cause I mean, me and my sister. I mean, she's 8 years older than me, but we're still very protective over each other. And so, and she cared about my opinion. So meeting him. And I'm not the nice sister to meet, which I didn't realize until after I met him. But in my parents, like, when he met my parents, like, it really wasn't that deep. But, like, when he met me, he was, like, I could tell he was trying to be, like, on his best behavior, like, and it was a big deal. Like, he knew it was a big deal for my sister, too, for him to meet me.
Yeah, because that's kind of the same way with my brother, because everybody knows I don't play about him.
You don't play about your brother.
At all. Like, it's been a time where a girl was in the car, and I'm on the phone with him, and she had the nerve to ask, who is that? Sis, who are you? Like, you don't want this word? Like, no ma'am. Don't you ever question me about this one. So, siblings do definitely play a big role. Because my brother and I don't play, like, if I don't like her, it ain't happening. Nah.
Alright, so how do y'all feel when y'all are about to meet someone's parents? Or, how do y'all feel when y'all about to meet someone's parents? Like, are you nervous? Are you completely yourself? Or you put a filter on yourself? Or what?
I think everybody puts a filter on themselves when they meet the parents. You put attention into what you got on. Like, you be careful what you gonna say. I think it also depends on the kind of parent too, because some parents are like more lax, they be chill or whatever.
Yeah.
Some parents, and then this can go to something else, but because like single moms and their sons, that's sometimes a different element. You know, that's another thing you kind of gotta play with, because you don't want to like overstep, kind of. I'll say like with my ex, I guess he like took me all the way back home, and when I met his mom, I wasn't really nervous about it, but I was definitely like on my best behavior type thing. Like, I was, you know, in the kitchen helping her and whatever, and you know, on my all T's crossed, all I's dotted, like. It was definitely, but I met like everybody, so I had to be like, I couldn't come across bad.
I kind of feel like that. I mean, like you said, everyone does. Even if you try not to, it's just like human nature, because you want to make a good impression.
It's like an interview.
Yeah, it literally is an interview. But I feel at the same time too, if you get the vibe from that significant other or that person on kind of like how their family is, you can kind of tell like, okay, I can be myself, because I mean, that's how his family is. And at the same time, you want to be yourself too, because it's like, you don't want to put on such a facade and this is what they see, and then like a month later you be like, oh, I didn't know this about you and that about you. So it's kind of at the same time, you want to make a good impression, but you want to be yourself, because you don't want them to feel like you're doing this just to make them happy. Because
parents
like
will point you out too. Like,
parents will read bullshit out quick.
Right. They'll read you. They'll be like, "Sweetie, it's okay. Like, you can, you know, kind of like you can pipe down type thing." And especially some moms, they'll be real quick to be like, "It's okay. You can calm down." But I mean, definitely. And your significant other, because all of us have said, you know, like, you don't really meet your parents until it's someone that you know you actually care about. So, I mean, we'll tell you too, be like, it's chill, like my mom's cool, whatever, like chill, you don't have to, you know, act a certain way, just for them to like you type thing. But
and I feel like it's not the necessary fact of a nervousness, but then it's like, you got to think about the other person too. So it's like, your guy is trying to see if you and his mom are gonna click. So it's like,
that's true,
it's not even nervousness, but you know that he wants y'all to be cool, because he's introducing y'all.
He wouldn't introduce y'all.
So it's kind of like, now he's evaluating and see how y'all interact. And then, of course, you know, you're going to have pillow talk when you go home, like, how was that and all that stuff. So it's kind of like, it's not even just for the parents. It's like the significant other, too. So it's just like, you don't want to act one way with them, but then they see a different side of you when your parents are around. So you kind of have to find, like, that balance and that, like, mesh.
That's true. Can I ask, are your parents married?
No.
Were they ever?
Yes.
Okay. We've had this discussion.
I know where you're going. Yes, it makes a difference.
Yeah, but like, my thing is, I haven't dated a single black male whose parents are, like, when we were together, we're married. And I think, think about it.
Now that you said that,
think about it. It's something that I noticed back in high school, that if I was dating, which I guess I've only dated black guys, but that their parents were never married. My parents have been married over 30 years. Your parents,
right? My parents have been married. Well, I'm finna be 25. They've been married for 23. So
right,
yeah.
So like,
but now that you say that, and I go back and think about it, like
it's truly something.
They all have been like single parents, like just their mom. I'm like, they have they may have a connection with their dad,
a relationship with their dad, and some don't.
Right.
And sometimes their parents are divorced. Sometimes their parents have never been together. But I have never dated a black man
where it's like
his parents
mom and dad, or mom and stepdad. None of that. Like
so. I was just curious about that. Do y'all think on yourselves, like, it makes a difference with you all and how y'all date and how you perceive, certain things?
I feel like it kind of do, cause I went from the background and basically it was just my mom, and my grandma, and then my mom got married like later on to my stepdad, so it's a little different from me, like growing up trying to figure out. I don't want to be that type of way, like you grew up. Or you get in trouble where they try to single, like your mom. I guess sometimes that frustration that your parent gets taken out on you sometimes when you're in a single parent home, and sometimes it's like you feel like I have to be a certain type of way, or I can't be like this or be like that. So you kind of tailor your way you act or react to certain situations or who you're around, and like especially when it comes to dating. Like when I look back at it, I'm like I want to do like my mom's happy. I want my significant other to be happy like my mom, so it's like kind of feel like it's no other way. You just gotta do what you gotta do in certain aspects of it.
All right, so it makes a very, very big difference because my parents, they divorced when I was young. I was in elementary school, so as I got older, I was always insecure about this because I've never seen a man love my mom. So it's like, how do I love? Like, I don't have an example of how to love a woman when I get married, right? So when we get into an argument as a husband, how do I fix it the right way? Because my mom didn't have a man to give me an example, right? How do I fix this? How do I love my mom? How do I take care of a household? Like, I was insecure about all of these things, and I'm still a little insecure about them because I don't know how to go about it because I just didn't have a good example. The men in my family, we don't have a good history when it comes to women. They're doing a lot better now, but growing up, it wasn't much of an example. So I've always been insecure about that, and even just dating, like, again, when you get into argument, how do you fix it the right way? How do you communicate it the right way to your wife? Because it's different when you communicate to your wife, your kids, like, it's different. So just dating, man, it's just, like, you really have to learn from other people's parents. Like, I had to sit there and watch my friends' parents, or, like, you can't go off the TV because it's made up. So I had to really study, like, what to do in certain situations. Like just being a father, like how to do that a certain way, like all of these things, I'm probably still a little insecure about because I'm still trying to figure it out. But that's why it makes a difference, especially with dating.
That's really interesting that you said you looked at like friends' parents, because at least you had a role model somewhere, like you had like someone you could kind of see a picture of what you kind of were thinking you should at least look at. So that's interesting that you say that, because my point isn't that marriage makes all the difference, because no marriage is perfect, and some people are kind of stuck in marriages and they aren't good even for them or for the children in the home, whatever the matter might be. But in my experience, I think it's definitely been interesting. So does that make y'all, and you can answer too, does that make y'all think like when you get married it's going to be a one and done, like you're going to stick with this person forever, or you come from a background of like divorce or where your parents aren't together, so you're not too afraid to divorce yourself?
Shoot, for me, I kind of feel like I want to be one and done in a way. Like if it don't work, I don't want to force it though. Like if it's something that just ain't working, we come to that mutual agreement. Like ain't no love lost with this. We just gotta end it. You know what I mean? But other than that, like I'm not just out here like, oh, Joy, I'm finna get married. Oh, I just get married again. It ain't like that, because it's a little different, you know what I mean? It's just not, I guess it's not me, you feel me?
So my idea, I would love to make it work. I don't like the idea of divorce. I've seen it too much because like I said, I've seen it too much in the family. I see what it does. It's too much to deal with. Kids got to deal with it, and kids don't understand because you may feel like it's your fault or you could have did something about it. Like it goes so deeper than just. It goes so much deeper than just between y'all. So my idea, I wouldn't want a divorce, but I mean things happen. Sometimes you marry people and y'all wasn't meant to be from the beginning. Because again, what you like at 15, you don't like at 21. What you like at 21, you don't like at 25, and so forth. So that's why I think it's really important, and I'm learning this, to take your time with dating, learning like what you really want, and not just what you want temporarily, but what you want long term, figuring yourself out. Like I think all of these things are important to figure out and take your time with.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely agree with that because, I mean, no one wants to get divorced. It's like, why would you even get married in the first place? Because that's even just more stuff you got to do. Like you said, when kids get involved into
Just
it.
money.
Lots of money. But when kids get involved in it, too, because, I mean, I kind of grew up seeing both sides because, like I said, my mom and dad have been married for 23 years. But people that know me, that's my dad. No one knows that, like, that's really my stepdad.
Right.
Because that's the only dad that I know. I mean, I know my biological father, but then seeing that side, it's like, you got 3 kids by 3 different people, and I've seen you go from this person to this person back to this person. Because, like, my older sister, he's back with her mom. So it's kind of like I've seen it's with the example that he said, he's kind of that person that's dependent and feels like he has to have somebody in his life and married to someone. And you can't always be like that because you're going to end up going from person to person to person. And then you have to stop and think, like, am I truly happy, or do I just want someone so that I'm not alone?
Right.
So that goes into play too. It's like, would you rather be in something where you're unhappy just so you're not alone, or being alone and okay with that? And you have to take that into play because some people just, they know that they're not meant to just be with one person or just be in a long-lasting relationship. And you have to take other people into consideration too, because when you're a person like that, you put other people at risk because now that person may be trying to build something with you, but they know that that's not what they want. So it's not always just all about you. You have to think about the other people too.
Yeah. I think I definitely think of it as like a one and done kind of deal just because of the example that I have been provided.
I mean, and that's what I see. Like, I don't...
Yeah.
Divorce.
But that's like, even my mom, like, she comes from a household where her parents were divorced. Her dad did remarry, so like everybody, when they see me with my Jamaican Chinese grandpa, like, that's not my biological grandpa. My grandma remarried, but so she's said to me multiple times that she wasn't thinking, like, she didn't think much of divorce. Like, even when she did get married, she, tried to make sure that, like, when she went back to school for a secure job and stuff, that she would be able to provide for us if something were to happen. So it's interesting that she thought that, but then she's been in this marriage for 30 plus years, and that's, and that's what it's been. So I was just curious about that. Like, people are like, a girl's first love is their daddy or whatever. Yeah. And not that I necessarily fully want my, father and, like, all his attributes.
Right.
But I'm always, like, the biggest attribute that I do care about when I'm dating someone is, like you said before, like, this form of security. Not necessarily, like, but, like, the thing is, if I'm with my dad, like, I'm not scared. Like, I know, like, I'm protected.
Right.
That, like, it's a sense of protection, not necessarily security.
And I like that you said that too, because even from, like I said, when as far as I didn't know how a man should treat a woman, it's the same thing. Like she was saying, how am I supposed to be treated as a man, right? Because if I never seen my mom treat her husband, how am I supposed to be treated? Because if all you see or in your family is you ain't shit, you gonna think that's normal. Like, you gonna think,
no, that's absolutely true.
Yeah.
You're right.
You gonna think that you ain't shit is normal, and then so when I start dating and I feel away, instead of communicating, it's just you ain't shit and get the fuck out my house, get all your shit. It's gonna be all of that. So I think too, as men, and we talk about self-love a lot with women, I think with men too, we gotta have self-love for ourselves and not accept certain things from women. So all the putting hands on guys and all the, again, you ain't shit, and all the y'all tossing shit out the windows and cutting up the shoes and shit.
Cutting up the shoes.
Y'all be doing some shit.
Beyonce to the left, to the left.
Not the work clothes.
Right.
Don't have the work clothes.
I heard stories, man. Putting bleach and all that. Like, as men, we have to learn to have self-love for ourselves and learn what we need to accept from women as well.
Self-control too, because if the woman is acting up, you gotta have just think about it. We're in a different standpoint because we're idolized in society as being like, we just have to react differently than women can react in certain situations, and I think it's vice versa to other situations as well. But like when it comes to, like you said, that putting their hands on or doing something with personal belongings, not many men are out here, oh, we gonna cut our clothes up type thing. We don't think that way. Like we can't just go up and beat on them. Like some dudes like that, you know what I'm saying? But it's like if most of us, like if she hit you, you're not gonna hit her back because it's other obligation to go along with that that you ain't trying to mess with. You feel me?
Straight to jail. When we get hit on,
it's kind of supposed to be like it's okay.
We get hit on, it's okay. Or even like with the Bow Wow situation, right? People laughing at him, but if he beat the fuck out of her, then people would have been mad.
Oh yeah, they would have been real mad.
Because they were like, it was minor injuries to both of them. I haven't seen her mugshot, but I seen his.
Oh, there was no bruises on her in her mugshot, so I was
That's
trying
what
to
I
figure
heard.
out where the
But
scars
he
were
was
at.
definitely scratched.
Yeah.
Bite marks and all.
Right, like that whole, that's not, to me, that's not funny. Like joking about that, because again, when a man hit a woman, it's all shit hit the fan. But when a woman hit a man, it's all jokes. Oh, you let her do this and do that. Like women, nobody should be putting their hands on nobody. First off, but we have to just stop joking about stuff like that, because it takes a strong man to not put your hands on a woman when she's like scratching your face or trying to stab you or beat you with a bottle. Like, think about someone.
That escalated quickly.
I'm saying, think about somebody trying to do something to you, and as a man, you have to really restrain yourself from not putting hands on her. So I think that's something that we have to stop joking about. And again, as men, if your woman hit you, man, you gotta leave. Like the same way how women leave, you gotta leave, because if you feel like you don't deserve that, you gotta move on.
And I've heard guys say, I know my worth before. So, I mean, it's just as important
It is.
for, like, sometimes we might want to joke about that, but
Right.
it's just as important for, you know,
It
males
is.
to, you know, see themselves as the kings they are and, you know, have their black boy joy and know their worth. And so, I agree with you on that.
Hold on, and one more thing I want to add to that too as well is like relationship wise, again with self love. When I was in relationships, if I lacked one thing, like if I felt like a woman, like my first girlfriend, this is just hypothetically, because she listened to this. Ain't no shade being thrown.
No
So
shade, no tea.
Hypothetically speaking, if I feel like she's boring, then the next woman I will look for is funny. But she's still lacking in other areas, right? So now I found a woman, she's cool and she's funny. But then this woman is lacking, she's not very loving. So now I go for a loving woman. Instead of just being patient and figuring out what's my worth, stop jumping to what I'm lacking and just be patient and just figure out what you want and what you're lacking and just accepting what you want.
I love that.
I kind of had to go out there too, because it's like you always trying to feel like you building,
Right.
trying to build what you want. Like my mom just told me, she's like, you just can't go out here and just be picking certain attributes of things.
Right.
Sometimes like you can't have it all, so nobody's perfect, so you just gotta like compromise. So I had to really think about, like, dang, so what you gotta, like, everybody gonna have something you dislike and something that you like. You just have to feel like, what do you want to tolerate, what you want to deal with. Like for one, I just know I'm not dealing with nobody putting their hands on me, so but I can tolerate, oh, she got a foot thing, she like putting a foot on people, you know what I'm saying? You just gotta deal with certain things you might not like. It goes, it's like an in and out type of thing.
Sure.
Yeah, I feel like that with that too, like how you said, like stuff that they may lack, you do have to be patient, because also it's like it's a 50-50, so y'all both bring something to the table. So you may say that person may not be as funny, but the more you get to know that person, they may be opening up to you. It just may be that
That's true.
they weren't willing to put
All
everything
of
in
themselves.
because they didn't know where it was going to go. So with that being
That's
patient too, you do learn more about the other person, and then you can actually bring out stuff in other people. They may not have been that funny or that caring or something, but you taught them something that they may have lacked. So
Or with knowing them more, you learn their humor. type
right,
thing.
and so it's kind of like it's a balance out, like y'all work and build each other and find what works and what doesn't work and likes and dislikes. Because like you said, you're always going to have something you dislike, like that. There's just no way around that. But there are other things that can develop as the relationship goes on.
Because you said, your mom said, you know, sometimes you have to compromise. My mom has always said, it's not about finding the person that's perfect, but the person that has the least amount of flaws that you're willing to deal with.
Big
So
I can
that's-
see that. I can see that.
Like, I'm gonna be one of those old people. Like, my mom used to always tell
Right.
me, but that's like one of the things. And she may not even remember she said that to me,
Yeah.
but I always remember that, and I've always took that into
Yeah, because that's kind of like just writing a list. Like, if it's more bad than good stuff on that list about that person, like, baby boy, hey, baby girl, it's time to go. But, like, if the good things, like, outweigh the bad, it's kind of like,
you know.
okay, I feel like I can make this work because maybe I could just be trying to find the bad in the person, and
That's
it's
true.
not there,
That's
but I'm
true.
trying to force it there
That's true.
because maybe I may be lacking something or I'm not ready.
So, glow getters, I hope we gave you a few little tidbits into just the mindset of
Right.
both guys and females.
'Cause
We
that
hit
was
on a lot.
That was a
Yeah,
lot.
we hit on a lot of topics today, and I feel like a lot of them are really like it's things we want to know, but we haven't necessarily discussed, or we haven't been able
Right.
to discuss it with the other sex.
Right.
So it's interesting to always hear, always have these conversations with a male as a female.
Right.
And even Ryan said that before, like having these conversations are fun, especially with females. So I can totally agree. Remember to like us on all of our social media platforms. We have our Facebook, our Instagram, and our Twitter. We're Grind and Glow on everything except Twitter. We're Grind and Glow Pod. We are also available on 8 different platforms, including Spotify, which is actually joining with Anchor. So you're going to be able to listen to us more simply very soon. We're also on YouTube, Google Podcast, and we're coming soon to Apple iTunes. I'm your girl, Ariel Rose.
And I'm Khadijah J.
And remember, the harder you grind, the brighter you glow. See you later, glow getters.